A day of celebration at our nation's capital as a new commander-in-chief moves in. We're live from Washington, D.C. right now at 6.
The inauguration drawing protests around the country. A look at how people are rallying here in Madison.
And later, a driver chases a bicyclist for several blocks. Video of the confrontation here in Madison.
This is News 3 at 6.
From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
A defiant inaugural speech from Donald Trump to thousands of spectators who lined the National Mall to witness him take the oath of office and become the 45th president of the United States. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6. A new administration is settling in Washington, D.C. tonight.
And while there is plenty of celebration, today's inauguration is also being met with some disagreement. We have live team coverage tonight from Washington, D.C. and right here in Madison with more on today's presidential inauguration. And we begin with our political reporter, Jessica Arp, who is the only Madison reporter in D.C. Jessica?
Well, among the thousands who came to Washington today to witness this peaceful transfer of power were a number of Wisconsinites, some of whom made a last-minute decision to make the trip. 3 generations of a Fox Valley family are on the National Mall after a long journey.
It was his idea. I got a phone call yesterday morning. He said, let's go out to Washington, D.C., so we headed out.
The Cole family drove all night from Clintonville, Wisconsin to get to Washington to join tens of thousands of others witness the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump.
This is my first inauguration, and it may be my last, but it's his first and my son's first, so that was important to me.
And the Cole family is not alone. Jenny Anderson of Hill Point is wearing her state on her head.
I have the Make America Great Again hat in my suitcase. I was going to wear both. It just didn't look great with the yellow, so I thought, okay, I'm going with the cheese head because my friends are going to know where I am.
Anderson also drove to Washington.
Arrived yesterday at 3 o'clock, and I'm here to support Donald Trump because I believed in him from the beginning.
And while she joined supporters who enthusiastically cheered on the mall for the new president, she had this message for those who are not feeling as positive about the direction.
You know, give him a chance. Please don't be so negative, and give the new staff a chance to work their policies.
As that happens and the nation moves past the pomp and circumstance of a ceremonial day, these Wisconsinites will go home hoping they didn't see the end of transformation in Washington.
And I think we're going to see a lot of great improvements in this country over. If it doesn't happen now, when will it?
Now, not everyone on the mall was a Trump supporter. We know there were a number of Wisconsin student groups who were here to learn about democracy and citizenship. We'll hear from some of them coming up tonight on News 3 at 10. And we will be here to cover tomorrow's Women's March that is expected to bring more Wisconsinites to Washington.
Our Jessica Arp reporting live from Washington, D.C. tonight.
Jessica, thank you. And here in Madison, many watching the inauguration on their television screens. People of all ages came out to a watch party. This one was at the Esquire Club on Madison's north side. Supporters say today's event is meant to be celebrated with friends and family.
Today, in our country, which is probably the only country in the world where we have both the outgoing and the incoming president come together on one stage and meet with friends, and I think that's something to be celebrated.
Supporters say they hope Mr. Trump's cabinet picks are quickly approved so the administration can move forward.
Meanwhile, others chose to skip today's inauguration. Representative Mark Pocan chose to spend his time sorting food at the Badger Prairie Needs Network in Verona. Pocan was among dozens of Democratic congressmen who did not go to the inauguration. He says he hopes Donald Trump hears their message.
I'd like to see him be a president for all of the people, not just the people who attend his rallies and the billionaires that he's put in his cabinet. I'd like to see him get rid of his Twitter account. I think that's dangerous ultimately. And I'd like to see him have that same dignified respect that every president, when I've grown up, has had.
Pocan said he planned to attend the inauguration until Mr. Trump's comments about Georgia Congressman John Lewis. Protests over the inauguration have come right here to Madison.
Our Chris Gothner was at an anti-Trump rally earlier today, and he joins us live at the state capitol to tell us what happened. Chris?
Well, you've certainly seen the images of a somewhat violent and chaotic scenes in D.C. Well, that was not the scene here in Madison. In fact, Capitol right now pretty quiet. This anti-Trump rally wrapped up at about 2 hours ago. And it was all peaceful, according to Madison police. No arrests made, and groups of protesters came out. You can hear them right there in the background. They came from, a lot of leftist groups came out here, and they marched to the Capitol to speak out against the president and his controversial views that were expressed during the campaign. Madison Alder Samba Balde and Rebecca Kemble were among the speakers at the rally. One of the protesters tells us in his mind that speaking his piece beats doing nothing.
You see evangelicals supporting a man who stands for everything that Jesus stood against. And this is, protesting is better than just calling into bed in a fetal position and doing nothing.
Now, like I said, that rally wrapped up about 2 hours ago at around 4 o'clock. Later tonight at 7 o'clock, they're expected to have a candlelight vigil out here coming along State Street into the Capitol. A lot of people at that protest, the anti-Trump rally this afternoon, said they plan to be there, and we plan to be there as well tonight at 7. So we'll bring you the updates tonight at 10 on News 3.
All right, Chris is live at the Capitol tonight. We'll see you tonight at 10. Thank you, Chris. Our inauguration coverage will continue. We'll hear from Jessica Arp as well tonight at 10. And, of course, for the latest updates, you can always follow channel3000.com.
To weather now, it's been quite a dreary day, rainy and foggy. Gary Canalti is in the Weather Center with a look at what's ahead for us tonight. Gary?
More dreary and foggy weather, and it looks like it'll continue through the weekend into the early part of next week, but at least temperatures will be on the mild side. As we take a look at a dense fog advisory that's been issued, it covers pretty much all of our viewing area, or at least from the Dells southward through noon tomorrow. Advisories also run into parts of northern Illinois into tomorrow morning. Current visibility is down to around a quarter mile in southwestern Wisconsin. Here in Madison, about a mile at the airport, but other locations seeing visibilities around a quarter to a half mile, and some areas have seen near zero visibility in fog. Doppler 3000 right now shows some rain and snow in the northern portion of the state. Some showers over western Iowa will eventually move northeastward and affect us later on tonight as a warm front pushes through the area. Temperatures right now are in the middle 30s. They're not going to change very much through the evening and overnight hours. Look for temperatures to hold steady or slowly rise to around 40 by tomorrow morning. There'll be a chance of showers late tonight and tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow, look for a high of 47 degrees, even though it'll be foggy and cloudy through the day. That's a look at our forecast first.
Thank you, Gary. Next tonight, a suspended UW-Madison student accused of sexually assaulting and harassing multiple women will go to trial. 21-year-old Alec Cook faces a total of 21 charges. His attorneys were hoping to reduce the number of charges, saying there was not enough evidence for 2 of the stalking charges. Cook's attorneys also asked a judge to dismiss a sexual assault charge and a separate disorderly conduct charge. The judge today denied motions to dismiss those 4 charges, instead ordering Cook to stand trial for 16 felony charges. Next tonight, a Beloit man has died from injuries he sustained in a fire. The fire broke out in the 500 block of Liberty Avenue Sunday in Beloit. The Rock County Medical Examiner says 29-year-old Cody James Wilson died at a Madison hospital Tuesday. His death and the cause of the fire remain under investigation.
New tonight, a woman suspected of injuring a man in a stabbing earlier this week has turned herself into police. Madison police say 44-year-old Katrina Lemon was arrested on suspicion of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Officers responded to reports of a stabbing in the 2100 block of Pike Drive on Wednesday. Police say Lemon stabbed the man in the chest after an argument. The man remains in the hospital, but is expected to be okay. A man is suffering minor injuries after a rollover crash this morning. The Madison Fire Department responding to John Nolan Drive at East Olin Avenue just before 11 this morning, where they found this SUV turned on its roof. Crews were able to get the driver out of the vehicle. Madison police say a medical issue caused the crash and that the man suffered minor injuries. There is more when News 3 at 6 returns.
Up next, Madison is known as one of the most cycling-friendly cities. But tonight, video of a confrontation that played out after a driver chases a bicyclist for several blocks.
Welcome back. Madison is one of the most bicycle-friendly cities in the U.S., but occasionally conflicts do arise between cyclists and motorists.
That is what appears to have happened yesterday afternoon on Jennifer Street. Our Dave Delosier shows us the driver chased the cyclist for several blocks before getting out of the car to confront him.
Madison is a very friendly cycling community. In fact, it's nationally recognized.
But yesterday, at the corner of Jennifer and Ingersoll Streets, things were anything but friendly. The cyclist does not have a stop sign. The driver of the car did.
The driver was clearly not in the right-of-way, and it didn't appear that the driver totally stopped.
Dave Chislevich is the executive director of the Wisconsin Bike Fed. He watched the video as the driver of the car chased the cyclist for several blocks.
And obviously, cyclists are at a disadvantage here. You're behind 2,500 pounds or so of glass and steel in a vehicle that can go 100 miles an hour up against a cyclist who's on a 25, 30-pound bike.
During the chase, the driver complains the cyclist is taking up too much of the lane.
The driver at one point complains that the cyclist is taking the full lane, but cyclists can do that when they believe it's necessary for their own safety. And that area of Jenny Street is marked with sharrows, saying specifically that the cyclist does have a right-of-way to take the whole lane.
The driver eventually cuts the cyclist off and exits his car for a confrontation. This does end with him driving off, but it could have ended differently.
So it was a dangerous situation, and one that could have resulted in real tragedy if that driver had actually hit the cyclist, and that resulted in injury or even worse. Not only would that be a tragedy for the cyclist family, it would be a tragedy for the driver.
In Madison, this is Dave DeLozier, WISC News 3.
As executive director of the Wisconsin Bike Fed, Dave Chislevich contacted Madison Police Chief Mike Koval and asked police to look into this.
And the video of the incident has been sent to all Madison PD lieutenants, asking them to see if they received a complaint from the cyclist. Stay with us when we come back. I'll look at how Packers fans are celebrating around the state ahead of this weekend's NFC Championship game.
We'll take you to Green Bay, where fans are putting on quite a show. Stay with us.
Fog and drizzle will continue through much of the weekend. We'll even see a few rain showers late tonight as a warm front moves through. I'll take a look at how mild we'll get this weekend in just a few minutes.
Welcome back. Packers fans are once again putting on a show in support of the green and gold.
Several hundred fans pulled out their best green and gold to show off their Packer pride. This is from Green Bay, and even though the Packers face a very tough opponent in the Falcons, the Packers are one of the hottest teams. Fans who turned out say they are feeling confident. Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. Gary Canalti on the backyard patio on this Friday, and boy, visibility is quite an issue out there tonight.
Yeah, you can't really see much behind me. You just get outside the lights, and it's very foggy out there, at least for the time being. And I think for most of the weekend, temperatures are going to be above freezing. In fact, right now, you can see that our temperature here in Madison is at 36 degrees. Temperatures, for the most part, are in the middle 30s. Now, we do have a dense fog advisory that's in effect until noon tomorrow, pretty much for all of our viewing areas north of Dells, officially not in the advisory, but still, that area will see visibilities as low as anybody else. And right now, we're seeing visibilities that are down into the quarter-mile range, especially over southwestern Wisconsin. That area there, we're seeing visibilities in some cases at times down to zero, but at this point, for the most part, those visibilities right around a quarter of a mile. Meantime, as we take a look at the latest future track visibility, those visibilities generally staying around a mile for much of the time. There might be a little of a break tomorrow afternoon as some milder air moves into southern Wisconsin. See those visibilities improve at least over southeastern portions of the state, but then the low clouds and fog move right back in as temperatures cool down for tomorrow night, and we're looking for those visibilities to stay on the low side for much of the weekend, although that might improve again a little bit Sunday afternoon. Otherwise, as we look at Doppler 3000, no precipitation really across southern Wisconsin other than some very light drizzle. There are some rain showers to our south and to our west across southwestern Iowa. Those will be in here perhaps later on tonight. Look at the live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. Very difficult to see anything, as is the view from the WISC Skycam here and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. You can barely make out the Capitol. Current conditions show a temperature of 36 degrees. Winds are out of the east at 6 miles per hour. Humidity at 100%, and the wind chill right now at 31 degrees. Visibilities right now Lowest over the far southwestern portion of Wisconsin. Those visibilities generally around a quarter of a mile, and it looks like those visibilities are going to stay in the lowest category, at least over eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois for the time being. As time goes on, eventually those visibilities will start to improve a little bit, but dense fog advisories in effect through noon tomorrow for southern Wisconsin and into at least tomorrow morning for much of northern Illinois. So as we take a look at our MetroVision 3D forecast, look for temperatures to hold nearly steady in the middle to upper 30s tonight. We could see a few rain showers late. Temperatures might be around 40 by tomorrow morning, and then once the showers lift north of us, we'll still see areas of fog and it'll be mild for tomorrow with a high of 47. On future track, you can see those rain showers moving on through during the morning hours, then temperatures climbing into the upper 40s by late tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, temperatures will drop back into the middle 30s, so we'll stay above freezing, and then look for highs on Sunday to be in the lower to middle 40s. Rainfall potential generally around 1/10 of an inch or so over the next 48 hours. 7-day forecast, though, you can see the fog continuing into Monday. Temperatures will stay mild through Tuesday, but rain showers late Tuesday will change to light snow showers Tuesday night into Wednesday and Thursday. Some flurries on Friday as high temperatures by the end of the week drop back to the upper 20s.
Up next, it's Cardinals versus Cardinals in the Big 8 Conference, and we'll take you to Atlanta, where Mike McCarthy and company might need some of those noise-canceling headphones, the really big ones. Move not.
Hi, I'm Leah Lynchide. Coming up tonight on the hour-long Fox 47 News, it's official. Donald Trump is sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. We head to Washington to take a look at the inauguration. That story and more ahead on Fox.
We're less than 48 hours away from the NFC Championship game. Packers versus Falcons, Aaron Rodgers versus Matt Ryan. Indirectly, two of the best offenses in football battle it out for a spot in the Super Bowl. News 3's Melissa Kim on the ground in Atlanta. She packed the hand sanitizer, I think, and might be the healthiest person, like in a 5-mile radius. Good evening.
Oh my gosh, Kevin. Yeah, there's definitely something going around here. I don't know if you've heard that 15 players on the Steelers have the flu. Not as bad for the Packers, though. Jordy Nelson did not come to practice today because he has some flu-like symptoms. And Aaron Rodgers, when talking to the media today, you could definitely tell he had a tinge of some kind of illness going on. But because he's Aaron Rodgers, he said it was no big deal and that he was just going to push some fluids and get a lot of rest. Now, as for the injuries, Jordy Nelson, Geronimo Allison, Devontae Adams, and Morgan Burnett are all listed as questionable ahead of Sunday's game against the Falcons, and there will all likely be some game time decisions there. So this is definitely going to be a completely different team than the ones that the Falcons faced in Week 8, but the Packers are ready for it. They've prepared for it. Now Randall Cobb, Trevor Davis, and Jeff Janis will likely be in that 3 wideout mix for the Packers. And another thing they prepared for, the crowd noise here at the Georgia Dome in the final game at this venue.
The playoff game down there was, I think, the loudest I've ever heard a dome. The Metrodome, always had the ability to produce that extra noise, and I think that's going to be the case Sunday. So it's something we're focused on. It's part of our preparation, and obviously it'll be very important for us to stay in those manageable down distances.
Now, Aaron Rodgers said the only way to combat that kind of home field advantage and crowd noise, Kevin, is to do exactly what they did against Dallas and get off to a fast and strong start. Back to you.
Melissa, thank you very much. We'll see you again tonight at 10 o'clock. Hoops Night. Like every season, it's January 20th, and we've sorted out absolutely nothing in the Big 8 Conference. Tonight, however, we will take a step in the right direction. The Middleton Cardinals travel across town to take on Sun Prairie in a battle of the birds. Jay Wilson, John Boyle on hand for the action. Hello, fellas.
Hi, Kevin, and good evening, everyone. Well, we can vouch what Gary said about the fog. Be careful if you're driving, because it was a little slow going coming out to Sun Prairie. But we made it. And as Kevin said, it's Middleton at Sun Prairie, and I'm John Boyle. I'm looking at the boys' Big 8 basketball standings, and the amazing thing is I can actually read this. Memorial and Craig 8-2, Middleton 7-3, Sun Prairie 6-3. So if one of these teams has an eye on the conference championship, they probably have to win tonight.
Yeah, every game in this situation is a must-win, and it's the kind of thing I have not seen 6 teams in contention at this time of year. I can't remember if that's ever happened. You can come into a game in 6th place and you can wake up the next morning and be in first place. So it's going to be fun for Big 8 basketball fans.
And we're going to see some great individual talent tonight too. Storm Murphy and Tyree Eady, both Division I recruits for Middleton, and Jalen Johnson's a great-looking freshman. He's getting a lot of looks already, and so there's going to be a lot of individual talent, of course, a lot of team importance on the line as well tonight. So we look forward to seeing you on channel3000.com live at 7:30 for Middleton and Sun Prairie. Kevin, back to you.
Hopefully we'll clear up some of that murky picture, Jay. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. Well, the Wisconsin men's basketball team hits the road tomorrow for a matchup with Minnesota. The Badgers haven't played their best basketball of the season, but it's better to correct the mistakes after you win.
Say we're doing a good job. I mean, we've been shooting like poop and still been able to win games. So that's definitely a good sign for us. I mean, you know, I guess fans and all the basketball critics of the world, you know, are saying we're not shooting well, we're not doing this well. We're still not shooting well, and we're still winning, and we're doing something awfully right on the other end.
Always candid. Nigel Hayes, not pulling any punches at getting a road win.
He does have a way with words.
That's wordsmith, I think we call it.
Thanks, Kevin. And fog is the big weather story tonight.
Yeah, dense fog advisory in effect for all of southern Wisconsin through noon tomorrow. The fog right now thickest over the southwestern portion of the state. You can see those visibilities really dropping over the far southwestern part down to a quarter mile. At times we've seen those visibilities down to around 0. As far as the 7-day forecast is concerned, you can see the mild weather continuing. It will turn a little colder for the early part of next week, but for the weekend itself, I'm looking for high temperatures in the middle 40s, some fog, some drizzle, and perhaps for the comfort rating, I actually gave it 4 stars. So
that's generous.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6.
Have a good night, everybody. See you back here at 10.
WISC-TV 3, winner of 3 National Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence.